Welcome to episode 92 of Build Your House Yourself University by BYHYU. I'm Michelle Nelson, your host and fellow student, and together we'll learn the basics of home design and construction and demystify the building process so we can make smart, money-saving decisions and build quality dream homes with or without a general contractor. Since we compared front-load washers and top-load washers in last week's mini lesson, it only makes sense that we cover dryers this week. We'll talk about gas versus electric dryers and cover some of the more popular dryer options, such as steam and moisture sensors. Plus, we'll go over some best practices for installing the dryer vent system, practices that will decrease your risk of a dryer fire. But before we get to that, a big thank you goes to B923 for your 5-star rating and awesome review. The review says, in part, "This podcast may be titled Build Your House, but this isn't just for those looking to build a house. It contains useful information and lessons for the weekend handyman or handywoman." So BYHYU, if you know any weekend handy people, let them know about the show. You can share it by text, email, or on social media. And thank you again, B923. I appreciate you for taking time out to let me and others know that you find the show valuable. All right, let's get on with it. Starting with the two main categories of dryers, electric and gas. All dryers, both gas and electric, use electricity to rotate the main chamber or drum. Electric dryers also use electricity to power a heater and a fan that produces hot air to dry the clothes. In contrast, gas dryers use natural gas or propane to power the heater and the fan. Gas dryers tend to cost about $100 more than comparable electric dryers. But in general, electric and gas dryers dry laundry equally as well. Gas dryers, though, warm up faster and they're also more energy efficient and cost less to operate. Until 2015, the U.S. Department of Energy did not rate clothes dryers for energy efficiency. Older dryers showed very little difference in energy use between models. But that changed when some dryer manufacturers worked with the Department of Energy to develop advanced features to save energy. Features like sensors that detect when clothes are dry and automatically shut the dryer off. Energy Star certified dryers are available in gas, electric, and compact models, and they deliver superior efficiency and performance. There are dozens of dryers that have earned the Energy Star label, and they're at least 20% more efficient than older, inefficient models. To save even more energy and money with your dryer, run dryer loads one after another to take advantage of the already heated drum. Now, let's talk about price and special features. Dryers range from around $300 to more than $1,400, depending on their capacity and features. Stylish dryer models with fancy glass doors, electronic control panels, and numerous cycles will cost the most. Dryers with stainless steel drums will also cost you more than those with porcelain drums. Although there's no difference in performance between porcelain and stainless steel drums, stainless steel eliminates the risk of rust, and some people think stainless looks a little bit more high-end. Dryers with steam cycles have become very popular in the last few years. They incorporate water vapor to freshen clothes by removing odors and removing wrinkles. Steam dryers are more expensive than standard models, and some require the installation of a water line to the dryer. Steam cleaning cycles will even allow you to sanitize items that are difficult to wash, like decorative pillows and children's toys. Here are some other dryer features that you might want to consider. A moisture sensor. Moisture sensors detect the laundry's dampness and shut the machine off when the clothes are dry. This makes the dryer much more energy efficient, so you'll save money and your clothes are less likely to shrink from being in the dryer too long. You can even find dryers under $100 with moisture sensors. Auto dry cycles. Auto dry cycles allow you to stop the dryer either when the laundry is completely dry or less dry, or points in between. This is helpful if you like to iron some pieces of clothing while they're still slightly damp, or if you want to only partially dry certain items in the dryer, such as sweaters or lingerie. Extended tumble. An extended tumble setting continues to intermittently tumble clothing when you can't get the laundry out of the dryer right at the end of the cycle. This decreases potential wrinkles. Some models intermittently tumble for up to 3 hours. End of cycle signal. Some dryers signal you with music or beeps at the end of the dryer cycle. This signal can be turned off or the volume can be lowered if you don't want the sound to bother nearby sleepers. Other special features include detachable racks that are designed to rest horizontally within the dryer drum. You can use these racks for delicates or cumbersome things like sneakers. The last feature we'll talk about today is a detangling feature. This detangling feature is particularly helpful if you wash a lot of large, bulky bed sheets or comforters. The detangling feature allows the drum to slowly spin backwards at the end of the cycle to help untangle large pieces of laundry. Okay, let's talk about this. Should you buy a washer and dryer of the same brand, or is it okay to mix brands? Well, it's perfectly okay to mix brands. But if you want to be certain that your washer and dryer will be compatible size-wise, you should buy a washer-dryer combination set of the same brand. But if you decide you want to buy a dryer separately from your washer, you'll have to pay attention to the capacity of each. If you choose a dryer that's too small for the washer, you won't be able to dry a full washer load of laundry in one dryer cycle. But if you go too big, you'll waste electricity or gas and money because you'll be heating a large drum that you're not totally utilizing. An easy rule of thumb is that the capacity of your dryer should be about twice the capacity of your washer. So if your washer has a capacity of 3.5 cubic feet, then look for a dryer with a capacity of 7 cubic feet. This 2-to-1 ratio gives a full load of wet laundry enough room to dry efficiently without wasting energy. By the way, a washer with a capacity of 3.5 cubic feet, along with a 7.0 cubic feet capacity dryer, can accommodate a queen-sized comforter. Your standard full-sized dryers typically range from about 7.3 cubic feet to 8.3 cubic feet. But don't be fooled by terms like extra large or king size or large capacity. These terms have no standard definitions. One brand might call an 8.3 cubic feet dryer a large capacity dryer, while another brand might call an 8.3 cubic feet dryer a standard sized dryer. So when choosing a dryer to pair up with your washer, stick with the numbers. Remember, the dryer should be about twice the capacity of the washer. Let's end our lesson today with some tips about installing the dryer vent system. A dryer vent system is designed to remove heat, moisture, and lint from your dryer, and it also exhausts carbon monoxide if you have a gas dryer. Improperly installed dryer vent systems are common. Those thin, flexible plastic and foil ducts, they kink and sag, and lint can easily accumulate in the sags and ridges of those flexible ducts. In addition, that thin plastic and foil, it won't contain the flames if a fire does start. So, when you're talking to the crew who's installing your dryer, make sure you request a rigid metal dryer vent duct with a smooth interior surface that's at least 4 inches in diameter. Thicker, flexible, galvanized metal ducting can be used for corners and transitions between rigid metal duct runs. But the majority of the dryer vent system should be comprised of rigid metal ducts. The entire duct system needs to be supported and secured, but no screws should be used to connect duct joints because screws inside the duct can catch and accumulate lint. Instead, ducts should be connected with metal tape. not duct tape, but metal tape. It's also important to ensure that the dryer ducts vent to the outdoors and not into attics or other enclosed areas. Moisture and hot air coming from the duct system can cause mold growth if it settles in an attic or some other indoor space. So you want the duct system to run to the outside and preferably end in a place that would be easily accessible to you or a handyman so the duct can be regularly cleaned out. In other words, try not to have the duct exit on the roof or high up on a wall, if at all possible. Wherever the dryer duct vents to the outside, it needs to have a backdraft damper. A backdraft damper is a hinged or slotted duct cover that goes over the exterior duct opening. This allows the dryer air to exit, but hinders outside air from coming in. It also keeps animals from coming in when it's properly maintained. And there should be no screens included at the end of the dryer exhaust vent. When screens are installed, they can easily get clogged with lint. This will obviously reduce your dryer's effectiveness, and it will create a blockage, which can become a potential fire hazard. Take a look at the show notes to see an example of a backdraft damper. You should periodically go outside to check the damper to make sure it's clean. When lint accumulates at the damper, it will eventually cause the damper to stay open. Also, inspect behind your dryer to check for buildup of lint, and the dryer duct itself needs to be regularly cleaned. If for some reason you can't vent your dryer to the outdoors, you can opt for a ventless dryer. Ventless dryers can function almost any place in the home. They're very popular in Europe, but they're not often used in the U.S. All ventless dryers are powered by electricity because natural gas dryers require venting so carbon monoxide can escape. While all dryers require maintenance to prevent lint buildup, ventless dryers need a bit more maintenance to prevent moisture problems. No matter what type of dryer you have, keep in mind that if your dryer duct is full of lint, not only is that a fire hazard, but it will also keep your dryer from drying properly. Homeowners have often been known to replace their dryer because they think the dryer is broken, when in many cases, the dryer vent system is the problem. It's obviously a lot cheaper to clean, repair, or replace a dryer vent system than to replace a dryer. So it's important for us to check and clean our vent systems regularly, but especially if we start experiencing poorly dried laundry. One final thought. If you have one of those flexible plastic or foil dryer hoses in your current house, you should seriously consider replacing it with a rigid metal vent hose, even before you move into your new house. It will decrease your risk of a dryer fire, and it might even help your dryers get dry faster. Well, that's all I have for you today. I hope you learned as much as I did, and I hope you come back next week for another episode of Build Your House Yourself University by BYHYU. Please remember that the purpose of this podcast is simply to educate and inform. It's not a substitute for professional advice. The information that you hear is based only on the opinions, research, and experiences of my guests and myself. That information might be incomplete, it's subject to change, and it may not apply to your project. In addition, building codes and requirements vary from region to region, so always consult a professional about specific recommendations for your home.